Hey, it's Father Taylor here. It's September 2nd. It's Friday, and that means it's time for our weekly eBlast. Well, today, Friday, September 2nd, what a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day outside. Hopefully, this weekend, sometime if you get some time off, you'll be able to get outdoors. There's like since I've moved here to Tarrytown, man, there's so many great places to hike, within 15 minutes. So, maybe you can get outdoors. Last Sunday, we did a great hike. We had a whole group of people who came and kind of like as a alternative to church. They took a great hike led by John Nagy. It was a great group. The night before, on Saturday night, we had our, right now it's monthly, we had our monthly, I don't know, what do we call that? Ice cream church or church and barbecue. But what it is really, it's turned out to be an intergenerational event. We have a bunch of families, all these kids that hung out together at Vacation Bible School. Man, they just like, they know the rhythms of what we do. So it's great to see them coming up with their own prayer requests and thanks. Families get to chill and just to meet each other. And, it's just a really great time. So anyway, that's coming up next month. Well, this month on the 17th, I believe it is. So you might want to think about that. That's like a mini church service, but weather permitting, we're outside on the hill. We have a great cookout. People just hang out and socialize. Starts at 5, and I know I'm home by 7. So people probably leave around 6:30. So a great time just to create community of mixed group. Anyway, so that was last Saturday. The hike on Sunday. So coming up this week on this Sunday, if you're around, and if you weren't in our first class on how to tell your story, it's a very easy method of coming up with a simple way how to learn how to share what God has meant to you and what God has done in your life by just telling your story. It's a very simple little method, and we're working on that. So if you'd like to come to that, that'll be held right after church in the chapel. So bring in we're going to have some refreshments and a coffee. And here's what's beautiful about the telling your story class is you get to hear people tell their stories and you just didn't know. You just didn't know some of these people. So it's really great to do that. So that's this Sunday. It's kind of informal and it's actually a lot of fun. And it turns out to be a way that you can be a minister in the wider world. All right. So next week is our big kickoff week. And as we're kind of rolling back into church. So, we're trying to make a lot of fun. There's lots of refreshments. We have some, I don't know what you call them, uncommon cars, some great cars we're bringing in, a couple of motorcycles. Yeah, we're going to do it outdoors, weather permitting. And one of the features that I really want to call your attention to, whether you have kids or not, but especially if you have kids, is that's the Sunday where we're going to pray for our students and our teachers. And as you'll see in the written part of the eBlast, we all know what it's like. Those of us who are older and our kids have already gotten through school, we all know August comes to an end, September rolls up, and you're like, here we go. We're starting the school year train. So there's always like we ask God to bless our year. That's common. But what you may not realize is the impact of all the events that have transpired, particularly COVID, what that's meant to younger kids in terms of the interrupt that it meant to their educational system, partially their not only their school development, but their emotional development. We're going to hear more about that from some mental health community folks coming up on the 24th. But kids are under a lot more stress than you remember when you were going into the 4th grade. And not to mention that school shootings have an everyday impact in the conversation and consciousness of school kids today. So this year, we're saying, please bring out your kids. We want our whole church family to be there to pray for them, to pray for those kids, to pray for those families. Look at the challenges families face with the expectations of having your kid, playing soccer and saxophone, all that stuff. It's a tremendous weight. So we're here to pray for families and for teachers as we go back and everybody involved in that teaching thing. So that's September 11th. I'm really hoping you can come. It's also a great one to invite your friends to. Remember, you're out of practice. So remember, don't forget to bring your chairs. So that is our last 9 o'clock service. Starting on the 18th, we'll go to 8 o'clock and 9:15. So we're going to be swamping you with information so you don't, miss the service. So we're just kind of starting to ring up some changes. Pretty soon, I'll be able to announce to you what our first series is that we'll offer on Sundays right after the 9:15 service, as we kind of get ready to use that as our Let's Go Deeper with Jesus phase, or kind of time for that, like Sunday, and just more to come up. So check out the rest of the notices that are there. You'll see that, we still have that event coming up on the 24th. I'm really fascinated to see how this will go. For my module on the 24th at that event, I have a person coming from the State Department of Mental Health, and I have a person from the Farmington Valley Health District who runs their community mental health programs. She'll be there, and I'm pretty sure I have somebody lined up who's going to talk about mental health issues coming from a school perspective. So we're going to talk about, so what that conference is, at least my module is, we're going to talk about those issues. How do they impact us? What resources are available? And how do we, as non-clinically trained people, how can we be helpful for people who are dealing with, whether it's depression or loneliness or any kind of mental health kind of issue? So anyway, that's what that conference is about. You got 8 topics that work like that. So you go to 4 of them, and it's just going to be a wealth of knowledge and possibilities of new connections and service. So anyway, that's what we got for this week. Looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to the day we all get back. Your friends who you haven't seen in church for a while, we got this way that you can really help them. And so I would say, there's some people you say, I wonder whatever happened to. Call them up, and say, hey, come on to church with me this Sunday. Okay. All right. So thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you this weekend, Lord willing.